Welcome back once again to Plug Talk Sports for another Monday. I'm joined, of course, by always Jonka. Don't stop. Myself, Brandon. Back for another week, Jonka. We're back, man.
I know, man. I'm excited. We have a lot to talk about today.
No, too much to talk about. A lot of playoff things going on from a lot of leagues going around. NBA, NHL, a lot of Inter Miami talk too. But before we jump into anything, let's go as per tradition. Good or bad news? What do you want to start with first?
Whichever one you want.
All right, let's go good news, man. Let's go good news.
Good news. Well, according to On3, if you guys don't know, they do recruits for college sports. Apparently, UM is the favorite to land transfer running back from Oklahoma State, Damian Martinez, who is represented by Sean O'Gorman, who we had on the barbershop talk. On one of the episodes, he represents Jonathan Taylor and a plethora of other athletes around the country. So it would be exciting if we can actually land him, because we are in need of a running back right now. So I'm excited that we could get him. He's, I think, the top running back transfer in the portal today at the moment, to me.
Okay.
So I'm excited.
Okay. So a lot of things going on for the Hurricanes. I see that. I see you. Probably best thing for my side of the page. It's got to be the job search, man. You know, nothing I confirm yet, but I could be going back home to South Florida. I could be. I don't want to jinx it, nothing like that, but something could be in the cards for that. But let's go now to the other side. Bad news. Jonka.
Bad news. Bad news. The bad news is that I do not know who my Patriots are going to draft on Thursday. I'm a nervous wreck right now because it's either the Commanders take Drake May or Jaden Daniels. And I just know that whoever they choose will represent my team for the foreseeable future. And I'm getting really nervous. Or they can draft a quarterback, or they can trade back for multiple picks. And I'm just very, very nervous. So, I mean, I don't know if that's bad news, but I'm just like really worried that Jared May, on his first decision as the head coach, chooses the wrong quarterback, and I don't want to be one of those teams, especially it being the Patriots with their history. So, I'm just nervous.
No, yeah, I mean everyone is, especially Miami Dolphin fans on Thursday, and everyone in the AFC East. Let alone there was also a bunch of moves earlier this year. I mean, my apologies, earlier today actually, rather, with Zach Wilson getting away from New York and on to Denver. And actually, that's probably going to be my the bad thing I've seen all week. The Denver Broncos revealing a new jersey, and it's horrible. It's like UTEP just basically decided to go NFL. It's like, let's just go ahead, put a lines here, the little dots here and there, and let's call it modern. At least they went a little bit good with, the throwbacks. They brought the D on the side of the helmet back with one of their jerseys they'll be bringing out this season. But besides that, worst thing I ever seen. I blinked for a second. I thought it was the Bears.
I thought it was like a Boise State.
Yeah. I mean, what's next? We're gonna have a blue field at this point over there in Mile High. So
I've seen better edits on Twitter on uniforms than I see with these organizations. It's just so bad.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, honestly, the NFL themselves, I mean, for us being from South Florida, it's, throwbacks are always the way to go for select fans. especially Patriots, the red throwbacks. I love the red throwback with the
I love him.
Patriots 3 point. So, but yeah, I mean, let's go away from football though. I'm pretty sure we got a lot to talk about. But let's start off with the NBA playoffs starting over the weekend. This is a year of NBA playoffs. I mean, from both sides of the bracket, Western and Eastern Conference, anybody can really take it. I mean, of course, you have your favorites like the Celtics, Denver Nuggets, and so forth. But I mean, just going around the bracket itself, I mean, we're looking right now at today's slate of games. A lot of them being game twos. The Cavaliers over the Orlando Magic, winning by 10, 96-86. That series is going to go now back to the Sunshine State in Orlando. Cavs take a 2-0 lead going on the road there. Then, of course, in a tight one right now, Knicks Sixers.
I'm watching
That
it.
one, yeah, so I mean, we got that one on TV. Let you know when that thing ends. But right now, Philadelphia up 100 to 96, 57.1 seconds remaining in the fourth, and New York having a 1-0 lead. And again, entertaining series. Let alone being a 2-7, that is not a 2-7 seed type of matchup. Then, of course, all around the rest of the Eastern Conference, we're talking about the Boston Celtics and the Miami Heat, which we'll be probably talking about first before going into the Western Conference. Let's just stay with the East for now. But yeah, so I mean, Miami Heat and Boston Celtics. Boston taking a 1-0 lead over the Heat. And then, of course, the Indiana Milwaukee series. Bucks take 1-0 after a Damian Lillard show. But Jonka, I mean, I just want to stay here in the Eastern Conference. Of course, Plug Talk Sports being based in South Florida. Let's go jump right into this Heat Celtics one. Of course,
Yeah,
myself, everyone knows watching this podcast, kind of a Celtic guy myself. Jonka, a sympathizer for the Miami Heat and their fans. But
thanks.
but yeah, so game one ending off 114 to 94. The Boston Celtics taking it by 20 points at home, hosting the Heat. And again, this is the Heat team dealing with two injuries, day-to-day injury of a neck injury for Terry Rozier, and then the headline really going into the series, Jimmy Butler out for some time, at least hypothetically to the Eastern Conference Finals will be a minimum of a time sheet for him. But Jonka, from what I saw this entire game, I mean, there's three things that really pumped my eye on it. It's the fact that Caleb Martin gets the start, right? Over Wright, I didn't understand that part. Then you also have the situation where you have, okay, but who's going to really, be defending guys? He usually play a good zone. Probably one of the best zone teams out there in the league. Use it almost every single game, every single minute. Unfortunately, that means that Porzingis is playing on top. Bam Adebayo, and again, Defensive Player of the Year finalist Bam Adebayo, as he's getting his roses now. Playing up top against Porzingis, it's just taking him away from the paint, and that affects rebounds. I don't know about you, Jonka. A lot of people want to talk about the threes. A lot of people want to talk about, the Celtics overall as, one of these teams that are just like, oh my gosh. You know what I mean? But the offensive rebounds I thought in this game were so eye popping.
Yeah.
So eye popping. I mean, but before we even get into the numbers, Jonka, what are your takeaways from this game one?
When I was watching this game, I was I was kind of screaming at the TV the majority of the time. But before the game started, I was talking to Daniel and he's like, what do I expect if for the Heat to win, what do I expect them to do? I without Jimmy and obviously without Terry, Hero's gonna have to step up and lead, and so does Adebayo. Neither of them. I mean, I know Adebayo went 24, 6 rebounds and 3 assists, but for you to be the big man and only have 6 rebounds is absolutely atrocious. And then Hero, he's supposed to be the guy, the one they wanted to pay $125 million. He wanted to be a starter.
Yep.
He went 4 for 13 from the field, 3 for 9 from three, 4 rebounds, 4 assists with 11 points. I'm sorry, you cannot go 11 points against the Celtics and expect to win. And then from when I was, they were playing like kind of like positionless. Like there was nobody had like their own like specific job. Caleb Martin only had 4 points, over 4. He only had 6 shots. He only made 2 of them. No threes, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists, and 4 fouls. That cannot happen. Like I don't know what Spoelstra was thinking while making these adjustments during the half, because I just feel like at the half maybe you could have after the second, starting the second half, you could have made some adjustments, but like it was, I don't know what is going on, but they have the players that can make this series at least respectable. I don't expect the Heat to win this series. I do not. I'm gonna be honest here. It would be nice, but it's not gonna happen. I just I'm being really frustrated with Hero because it's every year we expect him to rise to these occasions and be the star that we drafted him in the first round. Like we need you to take that next step as a starter because without Jimmy, obviously, if we don't have Jimmy, we need you to step it up, and he has not proved it over the years already. And Bam Adebayo, I mean, I like Bam, I really do, but it just seems like whenever you really need him to step up, he doesn't really level up his game enough to where this team, like an Embiid, a Jokic, or even like maybe he's not a five, maybe a four. Like it's just he's not that guy.
Yeah,
Sure, he can be really good at times against bad teams, but this team is not showing me any promise except for Jaime Jaquez, who went 50% from the field. Four
yeah,
and four. That's a good rookie. That's
yeah,
what a rookie should be giving you if in the playoffs in the first round. But
yeah.
everybody else is absolutely atrocious. I mean, DeLon Wright though, shout out to him. He had 17, 5 for 5 from three, 6 for 7 from the field. Hey, buddy, if Hero would have just done his job and Bio would have just been more aggressive on Porzingis or Jason Tatum, I think this game is maybe at least closer than 20-point deficit. But
Yeah.
I mean, your thoughts. I mean, I'm frustrated with this team. I gotta see the
Oh yeah.
adjustments tomorrow. If there's no adjustments tomorrow, something's gonna have to come out. I don't know. I gotta see how they play first. But
Yeah.
if the Heat play good and they still lose by 20, then I gotta put that on coaching
Yeah.
because you can't blame the players if they play good and still lose by 20.
Yeah, but I'm also thinking because as you mentioned before with Hawkes, I mean a lot of Hawkes' basket was transition going baseline to baseline. Mind you, this is a rookie playing his first playoff game in TD Garden. Now that's no atmosphere somebody can just walk in and perform well.
Yep.
But Hawkes, I mean, I think a lot of people that had eyes, probably the best player on that Miami Heat squad besides Bam Adebayo that day. And again, as you mentioned before with Wright, I mean the consistency of him. And even down that little stretch in the fourth quarter where, the Celtics kind of lacked on defense, garbage time, right? Making back to back baskets as he does, moving the offense as he does. I mean, Caleb Martin, and this is also another thing I think what I have to say for at least, a wider picture, right? Because he talk about, oh, we got these role players, anybody can go on, take on anyone. There is no Gabe Vincent career high game. There is no Max Strus crazy game. You might have a Duncan Robinson game here and there. But besides that, I mean, John, we even talked about the offseason for the Heat coming into the season, unable to bring back Gabe Vincent, unable to bring back Max Strus. And then now you're in a situation where, of course, again, injuries are the outlier here. I'm not going to try anything, defend anything. But, it's gone to the point where it's like, where are you going to get this extra help off the bench besides Kevin Love?
I just saw from the first quarter, immediately from the first quarter, I just saw Caleb Martin not being able to defend Jaylen Brown, and Jaylen Brown was just like destroying him. He was just off the off the rip.
Yeah.
First step into it, cross, he would just go right by him, and I'm like, you need to put somebody else on him, bro. You need to put somebody else on him. If you're gonna put Bam to guard Porzingis, you're gonna need somebody that's either just a little bit bigger in size or in height for Tatum to at least. I'm not expecting anybody to stop Tatum, but like at least make sure he's checked. But I just don't see what. I'm just a little bit frustrated because this team has the players. I mean, I would start after what I just saw from this first game. Start
Mm-hmm.
DeLon Wright, put Caleb Martin on the bench because he's obviously I don't know. I don't know what he's gonna do. But maybe he needs to come off the bench just to get some more rest. Maybe start Jovic. He did pretty good defensively. Bam, obviously you're gonna have to start Bam. Hero is gonna not have to shoot that bad again for the rest of the series.
Yeah.
If he could just take one game from this series it would extend the series. Maybe if you get Scary Terry back for a game, maybe he can give you a miraculous game that can give you maybe a 6 game series. But I'm not expecting that. So
Yeah. Not even that. We haven't seen a Scary Terry playoffs game in since what? Since he was in Boston.
I would also like to see Thomas Bryant, bro. You brought him as a center, bro. Why don't you make Adebayo the 4 and then put Thomas Bryant at the 5? Let him guard Porzingis, and then put Bam on Tatum or whoever else you want to put him on. And then maybe you'll be better defensively. If you can't score, you better at least have a better defense.
Yeah.
And then, bro, shout out to Payne Pritchard, our guy. Bro, I can't hate on him.
I'm telling you, Payne was he's that guy though. He's really is that guy. There's just something again. I understand, kind of Celtic guy, whatever. But as an NBA fan, you know what it is to see a guy that's like barely 6 foot, just going crazy behind the arc and just going insane with the handles every single day. Like I remember, I think it was like the second quarter where he got like an offensive rebound, put it back up.
Bro,
Man, I'm telling you right now, it's just straight hustle. And speaking of which, that number 10 offensive rebounds from the Boston Celtics in that game. Non-offensive, 34. So we're talking about at least 1/4 for the rebounds for the Celtics, even not close, being from offensive side of things. But also an update across the NBA. Knicks take a 2-0 lead in the series, winning at 104-101 over Philadelphia.
the Knicks scored 8 straight points to win the game and take a 2-0 lead. And I don't know, when you were talking a couple minutes ago, I was like this. Because I forgot who it was that shot the 3 for the lead to make it 102-101. And I was just in shock, like, oh my God. Oh, what a nice block by LeBron, though. I'm watching the game's on right now.
Oh, and speaking of LeBron James, we're actually going to go into the Western Conference side of the bracket now. And again, as John mentioned before, right now, the Lakers and Nuggets playing in Denver for Game 2. Nuggets have right now a 1-0 lead in that series. The Timberwolves have been a big series. I think it's probably the best series so far out west besides, again, a lot of blowouts behind the at least 2 days, I have to say, from the game ones. But yeah, so T-Wolves, Suns, really entertaining series. That ended up being Game 1 onto the Timberwolves hosting the Suns to win it. Clippers, Mavs. Clippers, even without Kawhi Leonard, seem to have no issue winning by double digits against Dallas. And then, of course, the Thunder and Pelicans. OKC taking a 1-0 lead after a tight one in Game 1. Jonka, from this Western Conference slate, what are really the playoff series that you're looking at and the teams you're looking at?
Well, before I get to the Western Conference, I want to say what I had said last week about the Cleveland Orlando matchup. I told you guys I didn't have much confidence in Orlando, and I think I was proven right. I think at this moment in time.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Again, Orlando losing by 10 in Game 2, and what I would say as well, because John, I mean, from overall perspective in my head, I'm thinking like regular season. I'm thinking like like the talent wise, the depth wise, right? Especially for the Cavaliers, they have definitely found some with Donovan Mitchell, and Garland honestly just picked up offensively. But I think Orlando, the main issue about them though is just like, man, it's playoff basketball. There's too much inexperience on that roster right now.
Yeah.
Paulo's going to his first postseason. We're talking about Franz Wagner, a bunch of other guys in the similar boat. And again, all talented, all able, and we're really going to have to see what happens in Orlando. I still think the Magic can, be able to turn the tide and win that series. But at the same time, it's like, man, I mean, how many times have Orlando have a lead and held it? Like, how many times have they even got close between, single-digit deficits? So the Cavs, incredible start, probably the best start right now out of any team in the Eastern Conference in, besides Milwaukee.
Yeah. We'll get into the Western Conference. I mean, the OKC Pelicans game finished, it was 94-92, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that was without Zion. So if Zion comes back and comes off the bench and can produce what he's been producing, I think the Pelicans will upset the Thunder. I mean, hey, if they were able to only lose by 2 against OKC, the number 1 seed, that's actually kind of interesting I'm gonna be watching that series for sure. But the one I'm the most interested in, besides obviously the Lakers Nuggets, which is on right now, but is the Thunder, not the Thunder, the Timberwolves and the Suns.
Yeah.
My boy Anthony Edwards was talking some smack to KD on the court, and I'm loving it. I'm loving it. You see, that is what I like to see. You can talk smack, and you don't have to give a technical foul or any text to somebody for like showboating or taunting or whatever. Let them talk, bro. Everybody talks. If you when you hear these people get mic'd up on the court, like obviously they beep out everything, all the explicit words that they say on the court, but just leave them. I'm loving it. I'm just loving it because it's just equal exchange. And let me just tell you, the Suns right now, they're about to implode if they lose the next game. The
Yeah.
Suns are going to implode if they lose the next game
Yeah.
because I don't see them coming back from 2-0.
Yeah. We're talking about a Suns team, Phoenix Suns team with Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, and excuse me, and just about every other guy you can imagine that wants to win a ring, at least go deep in the playoffs. Like Devin Booker, who's also on that franchise, has been with that franchise his entire career. 2021 Finals appearance, hasn't really gone close since. So that would be a tough loss for a very star-studded team. But I mean, as I mentioned before, Anthony Edwards. I mean, MJ's son, maybe 33 points, 14-24 shooting from the floor. I mean, he really was playing the entire game. And that's only the other thing I'll have to look at this series. How many minutes can Rudy Gobert, McDaniels, Anthony, like how many minutes can they play on the floor throughout a series like this where you have such competition where it's, Kevin Durant and Hall of Famers really can argue. But yes, I mean, again, 120-95, Minnesota taking that first game against Phoenix. But when I look at the Western Conference besides this series, though, I think a series that really interests me is that Clippers Mavericks one because there were so many people that put down the Mavericks as favorites so fast. The moment that Kawhi got hurt, the
I did.
moment that, like, oh, but the offense of Kyrie, Luka, PJ Washington, they got a good young roster, Gafford. I'm gonna let you know right now, this is the same Clippers team that went on a 10-plus win streak during the regular season not too long ago
That's true.
after the All-Star break. This is a Clippers team with James Harden, with Paul George, with a lot of good All-Star caliber players. Even Westbrook on the floor, if you want to make the argument night by night. Zubac. I mean, they got loads of guy and depth. Powell is still on that floor with them.
Yeah.
I think that from where I'm looking at for that series, I'm really looking at what happens with Luka Doncic and the Dallas Mavericks following that series. I personally have the Clippers winning that series. Now, it's not going to be easy. I think at least 6 games. But at the same time, I'm thinking if Luka does end up leaving that series into the offseason, he's got to be thinking like, man, I mean, do I stay with Kyrie for a little bit? Is this the best opportunity I have to win long term? And I'm not saying that they've been to the Western Conference Finals. But besides that, I mean, what, 5 games against the Warriors? I mean, how long ago was that? Has they even progressed any bit better? So I just think to myself that that's the series I look for long-term wise. Because for the Clippers and Mavericks, either of those teams lose in the first round, guys are leaving.
That's tough. The Mavericks are in a spot right now where they could lose the series. They can get swept because they don't play any defense. They don't play defense. If they do, it's not that good defense. And for Luka's sake, in the offseason, if they were to get swept, it would be tough to not consider leaving. Because especially I know Mark Cuban, I think he sold his shares or his ownership of the Mavericks, if I'm correct. Don't quote me on it though. But I think I'm pretty sure he sold his ownership of the Mavericks. So he's not there anymore. I think they kind of lost an edge when he left because he kind of like had that cool owner thing, which elevated the players' games. Like, hey, if you guys can get me a championship, I'll give you guys, whatever it is. But if I'm Luka, man, I better suck it up and play some defense, bro. Because if you lose like that again, and you let James Harden of all people, no,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. maybe if you want to stay playing with Kyrie, you would have to take a pay cut and then maybe pick up a third option, which could make the Mavericks lethal for a third option. I don't know who they would pick up, but I just know that this offseason the Warriors are not most likely won't have Clay back and won't have Draymond back. We gotta see that situation. So maybe Luka Steph kind of duo would be absolutely crazy.
Oh yeah.
I would pay money to see that. But I don't think I think just the Clippers are just too better defensively and they're really hot right now. So I'm sticking with the Clippers. But I think it's right now 15-9 with the Lakers in the lead, or 18-9, 16-9. I don't know.
Mm. Yeah, so Lakers, and that's another series I think is going to be really interesting because we're talking about, Western Conference Finals rematch basically here in the first round. But Denver, I mean, they were trailing in the first game, but to the Lakers, if I remember correctly, in the
Yeah, they were
first.
up 12.
So I feel like there might be a trend in this series. I hate to say it, I'm thinking it's going to be a repeat type of sweep with this first round matchup. I think out of any matchup in the first round in the Western Conference, maybe, again, I highly doubt the Heat get swept. I highly doubt the Heat get swept. That's,
I don't doubt it.
call it a hot take. Call it a hot take if you want. I don't think they get swept. I think it's 5 games. But out of any of the teams out there, out of any of the, matchups in the first round, I don't like the Lakers right now going against Denver throughout these 4 games. I think Denver's really the team to beat in the West, no matter what seed they are and how things are looking like. I mean, it could be a sweep.
I think if the Timberwolves can continue this great basketball they're playing right now and dominating on defense, Timberwolves could make a run. And they would be tough because I don't know what their defensive rating is at this moment in time, but I know they're one of the best teams in defense. I know the Nuggets are the reigning champions, but Anthony Edwards is on some next level, bro. I don't know what kind of drug he's taking, but I don't know. And then Cat coming back,
Yeah,
bro. I think I would love to see the Timberwolves win it all. Not gonna lie, but anybody but the Celtics and the Lakers, I'll take it. Sorry about that.
Hey man, I mean honestly, I would love to see the T Wolves make it. And we're talking about a team that it deserves what it's getting right now. Again, as you before about Karl Towns and all the other guys on that team, they got guys across the entire NBA getting, finalists and NBA honors, really. I mean, we're talking about Rudy Gobert, Defensive Player of the Year finalist, along with Bam Adebayo, as mentioned before. And as interesting as this, Victor Wembanyama as well in that top 3. And we also have Naz Reid from the Minnesota Wolves, 6th man of the year, potentially.
Like Naz Reid has been playing absolutely outstanding. He's been really good this year, shooting 3s, 2s, layups. That's it. The guy's been balling.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's got his own towel now. It's traveling everywhere at this point. I don't know if you've ever seen anything like that.
Now, I got a question for you.
Tell me.
Okay. It's a hypothetical, but if the Celtics were to, how do I say this, either lose in the finals again or not make the finals, what do you do as like an owner or a representative of the Celtics? Like, what do you do with the team? Like, I will go to San Antonio, let Wemby lead the way, and he's a number 2 scorer. Dang, look to
Spurs early, man.
in the same state too. That could happen. Hey, that's not.
It's possible.
That's
again,
interesting.
we're talking about winning. Again, depending on what Luka wants right now. Are the Spurs ready to win right now? I doubt that. But it's a good hypothetical. I like it. I really do like that idea.
That would be this.
That'd be a crazy combo. Be a crazy combo.
Like, who would you guard? You can't guard Luka, and you can't guard Wemby. Obviously, nobody can guard Wemby. I mean, at this point.
Yeah, basically, he's let me tell you. Also, like Wembanyama, hell of a first year. Marketing,
really.
Saw his new shoes, that logo. That's gonna go for Jeff. That alien stuff, that is so cool, man. I mean, it's his own brand though. It's his own brand. But yeah, I mean, I definitely do see Luca and him matching up together would be a definitely big threat in the West, but would be a better situation than Dallas. I don't know. I can't really say.
Yeah, that would just be really interesting. I mean, they'll have a pretty high draft pick again because they were one of
Yeah,
the worst teams. So just imagine Zach Edey to the Spurs, the biggest
but,
team in the NBA.
bro, Zachy, man's gonna be a Miami Heat player and then find his way to South Dakota or something.
Oh my God! Don't do
Out
that.
to the G League. But Jonko, as you mentioned before, though, if the Celtics don't win, and if you're a front office guy for that franchise, look, there's only one thing you can't do at this point, right? You're able to re-sign Drew Holiday on a cheaper route. You're able to get Jaylen Brown for a few years, so obviously for $300 something million, more than needed. And Porzingis, you got him for I think one more season after this one.
Okay.
So what do you do? It's just Jason Tatum at this point.
How much
It's
do you? I would assume, if I prove me wrong, if I'm not wrong, you pay him more than Jalen Brown. No, yeah, than Jalen Brown.
well, that's the idea, hopefully. But at the same time, with the blanket and the new stuff for salary, I mean, it's possible if the Celtics want to get in debt. But I think at that point, as a front office guy, you just have to.
That luxury tax is gonna hit.
Yeah, you take a hit the luxury tax and you just find better minimums for every single guy after that. Every single guy after that. And unfortunately, this would probably also affect Al Horford for the Boston Celtics. But I mean, again, hypothetically, if they don't win it, and again, it could likely happen easily, that's just going to be something where I just can't find Tatum leaving the Celtics. I can't imagine him in another jersey at this point, especially in his career where it's like, he's been to the playoffs 7 times since he's
Yeah,
been drafted in 2017. Like, he's been on the most successful franchises in the sense of like playoff time, experience wise. Like, where does he go from there? You know,
Miami.
all right, let's calm down. After all the playoff stuff, I think that'll probably be the last place he'll go up at this point.
I don't know. I've been seeing him like talk it up with Bam Adebayo during the offseason, and little by little,
Yeah, I see that as well with Joel Embiid all the time.
bro.
Get a lot of calls about that. I get a lot of calls about that. And speaking of which, something I actually learned the other day too. Joel Embiid from Gainesville, Florida. Man spent 18 months here in Gainesville. That's why he's a U.S. citizen, also representing the United States in the Olympics.
Yep. Oh yeah, and Joel Embiid getting injured again in Game 1.
Yeah, that too. But again, we'll always keep you guys updated for everything for NBA playoffs, but also now going into another league, NHL playoffs. And some people even argue that's probably more entertaining than it is NBA. But going around the horn here, we're going to go to the Western Conference here. We got the series Winnipeg and Colorado. Winnipeg taking a 1-0 lead in that series. Vancouver over Nashville 1-0 as of right now. And then Edmonton, Los Angeles. We still got nothing for that one as of yet. But going out to the Eastern Conference, Carolina and the New York Islanders. Carolina taking a 1-0 lead for that one. Honestly, I think that Carolina's going to take that one easy peasy. The Rangers, probably the team to beat in these playoffs besides the Florida Panthers, 1-0 against Washington, a wildcard team that barely made it in over the Flyers. That was a weird, crazy last day in the NHL regular season, almost into the NBA. And then the series that a lot of people want to talk about, Boston and Toronto, that is 1-1. Maple Leafs able to take a game away from Boston, tying the series 3-2, game 2 score, but going to Toronto as it goes back to Canada. And then, Jonka,
Yeah.
this series we're going to be talking about a lot for today's episode. Florida, Tampa Bay. Panthers Lightning, battle for the Sunshine State. Game 1 in Sunrise, Florida, the home of hockey in Florida, a.k.a. Broward County. We're talking about the Panthers taking a 3-2 lead, led by 3-1 at one point in the middle of the third period. This is a series that I feel like the Panthers got it in the bag. But, Jonka, from your takes from the NHL, from the playoffs, I mean, what have you seen so far that's kind of popped your eyes looking into this?
I didn't get a chance to watch a lot of the Game 1 with the Panthers and the Lightning, but it's a good way to start a W starting off the first round, I'll take it. But I need to see more aggressiveness. I need to see that aggressiveness that I saw to start the season, where they were just tearing people up. I need to see that confidence back. If they can just annihilate this team who's been historically screwing us for the past couple years,
Yep.
I think that will set a message to whoever we face in the second round. I'm not that knowledgeable in hockey like you, so that's like the most I could possibly say. But everybody's gonna have to step up because we made it last year and we didn't win it, but we
Yep.
made it. So now we have that experience. We need to use the experience that we gained and then take that and let's go win this thing, and then we can go pop bottles on 8th Street.
Yeah, that or Sawgrass, or go up to
Bro,
Sawgrass.
I'll do it, bro. Why not?
Yeah, but I mean, for me personally, though, I'm not the big hockey guy, though. I follow the league, yes. But trust me, it doesn't need a big hockey guy to check out the numbers, though. Panthers obviously taking over the first half, like maybe the first 15 minutes of this entire game in game one. We're talking about 8 shots within the first 15 minutes, not allowing a single one for Tampa Bay. At the end of it all, 28 shots on goal for the Panthers compared to the 19 of Tampa Bay. Winning in face-off percentage, power play. Unfortunately, 1-3 in power play as Tampa's 1-2. But again, at the end of the day, 3-2 score. Panthers taking it over. One thing I would probably have to say it was a concern for the Panthers is definitely power play. I think that's been something throughout this entire season. There's been kind of a weird edge to it. Block shots, giveaways, takeaways. The Panthers taking on giveaways and takeaways there. Block shots, a lot of shots coming from Florida. 21 block shots from Tampa Bay, 12 for the Panthers. And overall, I thought from, just the lines, the second period was a little bit, lazy, right? A little bit lazy. Panthers hot start. Reinhardt getting the party start with the first goal. Hagel able to respond late in the period for Tampa, tying it up. And, I mean, honestly, Verhage, Mr. Playoff. Kachuk getting a hockey assist from that one. And also later on getting an empty net goal, to make it 3-1 at one point. And then, of course, Stamkos scores in basically the last minute. But this is a team, I think, for Florida. I mean, they're going to be facing the Rangers by the time it gets to the Eastern Conference Finals. I think those two teams are the best teams in hockey right now. I think whoever comes out the West, it really doesn't matter if it's Vancouver, if it's from some miracle Vegas again. Honestly, I think that the Panthers got it.
Man, I really hope we make it. I think we're the best team overall, but I think just at times we just we play to the level of our opponent, and then I think we just underestimate them. Like that Stamkos goal with 8 seconds left,
Yep.
that should have never happened. Like if that game would have been 2-1, you would have just. I think we would have just been frustrated because that that goal should not happen. The game should just finish 3-1 and then just ice the game. Like
Yep. Just get over with.
just finish the damn game. Like the whole you're telling me you hold them to one goal the entire damn game, but with like a minute left, they all randomly just get a goal when you're just like eating crap. Nah, I'm sorry. If you want to win the Stanley Cup, you're gonna have to put your foot with the blade on their throats.
Yep. No kidding about that. And again, this is the Florida Panthers battle for the Sunshine State against the Tampa Bay Lightning first round Eastern Conference Final. My apologies, Eastern Conference first round. Game 2 being played Tuesday, April 23rd. That's going to be a 7:30 puck drop for that one in Sunrise, Florida. And again, we're going to be looking at that one. But a little bit more on the horizon, though. NFL. The NFL draft starting on Thursday. Jonka knows that we've been talking about this for a long time as Jonka gets a prop coming in. But I'm telling you right now, Jonka, the AFC East looks as weird as it did last season. I mean, this could be something else with the Patriot ring. Okay, John. Okay, calm down. Calm down. Calm down. We're not talking Super Bowl in New England yet. At least not for a while.
I want the other. I want the other five, but they were kind of expensive. So
But yeah, so we're looking right now at the first rounds coming up soon on Thursday, and for a lot of people, just as Jonka, who have the guys picking in the first 5 picks, New England Patriots picking number 3, and then of course later on down the line, the Miami Dolphins at number 21 in the first round selection. I mean, there's a lot of potential possibilities for both picks, and I mean, let alone, I think the only like bona fide pick we know of is really Chicago's number 1.
yeah,
Williams. I think that Caleb Williams has overall been, the guy they've been putting out there marketing, not as as heavy as the Indiana Phenom or Caitlin Clark in the WNBA, but it's a little bit similar. Even had some of their Chicago Bear players going out there in Southern California for his pro day. But John, I just want to think of your thoughts from the first round, what to look for, and I mean, as a Patriot fan, what do you want at number 3?
Whew, that's a lot to go over. But I'll tell you this right now. In my opinion, from what I desire, I'm gonna. Who are the first 5 picks right now? I know it's the Bears.
Yep. Bears at 1, Washington at number 2, New England at number 3, Arizona number 4, the Los Angeles Chargers at number 5.
Okay, for number 1, it's not even a question. It's Caleb. If that is not Caleb, I'd be shocked.
Yeah. No kidding.
But Caleb Williams. Now here's where it gets just one pick. It gets all flustered. I don't think Washington has a good offensive line, so I'm not expecting them to draft a quarterback that's a pocket passer because with that offensive line, that he's going to be scrambling left and right, this and that. So I'm expecting them to have a mobile quarterback. It could be Jaden Daniels from
Mm,
LSU, but from what I've been seeing on Twitter, I don't know if it's true or not, that he hasn't liked the camp that he's had with the Commanders. So that could be maybe that could be something that the Commanders saw and like, hey, he didn't like the camp. That's not something we want to have in a player that's going to represent the organization. So
right.
they'll probably go with Drake May, but Drake May isn't that much of a mobile quarterback. He can pass it, he can sling it.
Yeah.
But the thing is, with a bad offensive line, he's not going to be able to extend the plays that you want and maybe have a better season than we had last year. So what I'm saying, I think they're going to draft. Hear me out. Think about this.
Okay.
I think they're going to get J.J. McCarthy from Michigan. I think it's an out. I know, but
Right.
I can see him in a Commander's uniform, and then I think New England having the choice between Drake May from UNC and Jaden McDaniels. I think with this new rule, with this new BS no hip drop tackle, I think it's gonna make it harder for teams to, how do I say, guard mobile quarterbacks and or anything
Yeah.
basically. So I'm gonna say the New England Patriots draft Jaden Daniels from LSU, and then Arizona depends on what they want. I'm assuming they're gonna keep Kyler Murray, and I don't know who else they got. Did they get any other quarterback that I'm
Uh,
aware of?
not that I know of. Not at least
So,
not.
so if I'm assuming they're gonna pick Marvin Harrison from Ohio State, and then the Chargers. I don't know if you've seen it, but there's been rumors with the Chargers making a trade with the Vikings for Justin Herbert.
Ooh.
Have you seen them? There's
Yeah.
been some talks
Yeah.
of
There's
making that trade. The Vikings need a quarterback, and Harbaugh is probably not really convinced that Herbert is the guy that he wants to move forward with the organization and his I guess his
yeah.
foreseeable future.
And all that.
So if that were to happen, who does who does who does the Chargers who do the Chargers take? If that's true, if they were to make that trade on that day, we trades happen.
Yeah,
Trades happen. If that trade would happen, that's in that scenario, I got the Chargers taking Drake May. Those are
but
my first. Those are my first five. Now you
but
tell me I'm not cooking. Tell me I'm not cooking.
look, I'm not gonna lie to you, man. What are we cooking with that second pick, though? You know what I really noticed? Bo Nix wasn't mentioned.
I
Not
don't
like
think Bo Nix is that high though.
why.
I think Bo Nix is like in that same realm of Michael Penix Jr. and him. I think they're in that same caliber.
Yeah, I think that especially for McCarthy, I think McCarthy's situation is so interesting because obviously national championship, had a decent. He had a decent pro day, and then the combine comes in. It's like, he's not really showing out. Like it's not like Joe Milton had a better combine day than him, and then maybe I just combine overreacting or something like that. But out of the Big Ten, you're not having a lot of big scores. How many like quarterbacks out of the Big Ten are just dominating guys, especially in this draft class? How are Big Ten guys in the quarterback room looking like against the SEC guys or the Pac-12 guys are going to be coming in like Penix and as well as Bo Nix, and as funny as it is, the last year of the Pac-12. I honestly do believe, because Jonka, I do agree though. I think the Commanders, they do get a quarterback, but again, let's say hypothetically Jane Daniels, they don't like Jane Daniels, right? I think Bo Nix is going to be that next guy. I personally believe Bo Nix is, if not the second, maybe the third best quarterback in this draft class. I think Joe Milton definitely, put up his stock a little bit going into the combine out of Tennessee. And, that's going to be a late first rounder, I think, in Milton, if not late second or early third. But the Commanders, Bo Nix has got to be that guy, though, for them. I just can only imagine, talk about mobile quarterback. Bo Nix can do that. He did a little bit in Oregon. And from the offense that they're trying to do in Washington, it's a revamp, right? Rivera's not going to be there. This is going to be, who knows what this offense looks like. Bo Nix has the best option to adapt to a new offense, no matter what it looks like compared to Drake May. Honestly, not saying I don't believe in May, right? Talented kid. A lot of top 5 draft boards for a reason.
Yeah.
I just don't see him working in the NFL.
I agree 100% with you. Me and my brother were always arguing with Drake May. He's saying that he's good. I don't think he's that good because I'm not saying we're world beaters, but when he played when we put pressure on him, he didn't really make any big plays. But when he was protected, yeah, he made some good plays, but it wasn't like world beating plays. So I just think he's like average. I think he's like another version of Mitchell Trubisky, where he's just like high draft pick, and then he just gets to the NFL and he doesn't produce as much. Maybe he has a better arm than Mitchell, but I don't see that that dog in him. I don't think he has it. I think everybody else that I mentioned does have it. Caleb Williams, I think he's overrated, to be honest. But I'm assuming the Bears are just gonna take him because the media has to like overrate him, overinflate him. But he couldn't if he can't be Utah and Utah had his number. What makes you think in the NFL is they're not going to use that tape against them? Like, come on.
Yeah, but Utah, again, one of the back-to-back Pac-12 guys. But yeah, again, NFL draft this upcoming Thursday, beginning at 8 p.m. Got to look at the little laptop in the background. And that'll be a 3-day event. First round coming day 1, rounds 2 and 3 the day after, and 4 through 7 the third day and final day. But Jonka, for the last 10 minutes on this table, we got to talk about Inter Miami. Didn't do much in CONCACAF Champions, but they're back, man. They're back in the MLS groove of things. We're talking about an MLS Cup season, maybe. First back-to-back games in a long time. Inter Miami able to get one over Nashville, the most recent one. But actually, hold up. Let's do a quick NBA question before we go ahead.
If Tatum loses to the Heat, would you trade
Okay, let's not do that question at all. Let's not do that question at all.
One question: with Denver
Let's-
picking at 12, would you take Bo Nix? Denver?
Yeah, I would.
I
I'm
could
not having
see, I
Wilson
could see
start.
him in.
I'm not having Zach Wilson start.
They have Stidham, Jared Stidham, former Patriot. Let's go. Zach Wilson. I don't know why they even chose Zach Wilson. I'm sorry. That was just maybe practice squad Wilson.
Yeah, I think it's just because they're looking to get draft picks out of there.
Will you guys watch the WNBA this season due to Kalen Clark and Angel Reese hype?
No, yeah,
Honestly, I probably will. I think the WNBA is at the point where Kaden Clark and Angel Reese have created like this rivalry now that's gonna be entertaining to watch. And I think the WNBA is gonna be on the come up right now.
yeah. I think honestly, and not even that. I mean, even before Caitlin Clark, like WNBA, we're talking about like Candace Parker, putting a big name out there for the WNBA, and also it's just Sue Bird and a lot of these great WNBA players that we know, like Maya Moore, they're starting to retire. So now it's kind of this new slate. I mean, let alone the 2020 recruiting class for women's basketball in college. This is going to be their rookie year. And this is probably one of the best signing classes in women's collegiate athletics, in my honest opinion. So from Angel Reese, then also I forgot the
Sabrina,
athlete.
the one who played against Steph, Sabrina.
Oh yeah, that too. But I'm also thinking about the one from Stanford that got drafted by the Sparks. I forgot.
Oh my
But
God, you
yes,
got
but
me there.
yeah, but besides that, though, I mean, we're talking about starts to the cash. Chicago Sky are going to be fun to watch. The Fever are going to be as fun to watch as well. I know they got still Aaliyah Boston from last year, first round for the Fever from South Carolina. So I mean, it's going to be really fun, though, I think. I mean, not only from the hype of the WNBA with Caitlin Clark, but even before that, it's growing.
No, I think the NCAA women's basketball might take a hit this coming season
Oh, yeah.
because there isn't really any big stars like Kayla Clark or Angel Reese anymore. So I think the hype is going to go down a little bit. I know the Cavalier twins are coming back to Miami.
Mhm.
I think Van Lith is going to is it Wisconsin?
No, TCU.
TCU, my bad. I'm sorry. Yeah, so that she's on the move. So LSU is maybe not going to be looking as good as they were. Hey, I just got to see what happens because my twins they looking good. So
Yeah, I don't know if the Hurricanes will be able to make it out of the ACC for women's basketball, but one thing is for sure, though, the SEC is locked in with South Carolina for the next few years. And LSU, again, as Jonka mentioned, going down a little bit with the departures, especially Angel Reese leaving that program. That's a huge identity right there. But yeah, I mean, as mentioned before, though, Inter Miami, right? We're talking about a win in Arrowhead in front of around 72 to 73,000 people, 3-2 over Kansas City, and then back at home in, Fort Lauderdale,
yeah,
Inter Miami. But let's be real, back home in Fort Lauderdale, winning it 3-1 over rival Nashville, and I would have to say, a very pleasing victory for Inter Miami. A messy goal, quick things we've been seeing from Gomez in the past two games as well. Jonka, I'm just curious from your takes of this because I know we always talk about Tata and just the way that the line is built and just the way that the roster is. What have you seen for these past two games and kind of the rebound that Inter Miami's had from the Concacaf Champions Cup loss?
from the Concacaf loss, I just think with Messi being out that first game against Monterrey, I think that kind of hurt us leading into the second game. I know we were in position to at least tie it or go into penalty kicks or extra time, but that's the past now. Messi was out first game. I think we would have won that first game, but
Yeah,
that's just me. But with these past two games that we've won, I think there still needs to be this thing needs to be addressed and addressed quickly. The defense needs to improve. I'm going to keep saying it. The defense needs to improve, and
right.
Tata Martino has to do something about the loss of possessions. This damn team gives the ball away an excessive amount. But Brandon, like I'm dead serious. Like I've never been more serious in my life. You can even ask my brother. I scream at the TV at the top of my lungs
Hmm.
at how stupid, and I'm saying it very clearly, stupid decisions with the ball. Like the ball can be in the air. You know how people some players like to head it towards their player. These
Yeah.
people just decide, you know what? Instead of controlling the ball and then getting it to my feet where I can do more things with it, they just decide to head the ball with no sense of direction and no play in mind. They they're just absolutely stupid. And
Yeah.
then I know Kermashi, Campana, Redondo, um, I forgot who else is injured. Christoph, a lot of our starters are injured.
Yeah.
So maybe our defense will be better once they come back. Because I know Redondo was a big piece. But as of right now, the team is kind of in that little window where they they can be really good, but they just need to fix these issues. And especially that game with Nashville this Saturday,
Hmm.
that the goal that they scored was an own goal by Negri, and that was just a mistake on Negri. It was a
Yeah.
stupid mistake, but like Nashville didn't really actually technically score a goal. They had plenty of chances, and our defense came up big. But overall, like Messi did his thing, and Busquets with a crazy header. I don't know what he did, but the guy did it. This team can be this team can be so much better than what they are now.
Yeah.
Like
It's true.
they
It's
can
true.
be winning games 5-0, 6-0 because of the talent we have around with Messi, Busquets, and everybody else. And Jordi Alba didn't even play, so we were lacking a playmaker with experience. Russell needs to step up. Who else? Bro, that dude, this the guy Noah Allen, trade him, please, Lord God. And this dude Chego W,
Yeah.
whatever his name.
Oh, yeah. That one, I don't
Bro,
even.
I want to slap him in the face. I've never seen somebody so bad in my life.
Yeah. But also, Jaka, I know you were talking about injuries though. I also got this one from what I thought was really interesting from Inter Miami's communications department. They're providing injury update on Diego Gomez, saying that he suffered a high grade ankle sprain in the first half of Inter Miami's win
Yeah,
over
he's
on
been.
Saturday.
I think he's the MLS's most improved player, but
He is.
he's been really crucial this year so far, and
Yeah.
sad to see him
But
get down.
but they're also saying approximately 6 weeks could be sidelined. We're talking about him being sidelined a few weeks. Federico is also sidelined a few weeks, as you mentioned before. You
Yeah,
know, and also Robert Taylor. The one thing I kind of noticed though,
Taylor
Robert,
too.
yeah, Taylor. Taylor's been doing really good for the first part of the season, but again, injuries for the team itself has been really putting them down. But besides that, I mean, they've been able to get, new signings coming in mid-season. And then as well, a lot of people stepping up. I think Busquets as well stepping up because, Jordi Alba is going to be out. I mean, he was out for the Saturday win for Inter Miami. And Inter Miami is still able to get a favorable result, winning 3-1, and including 2 goals by Messi. And I know Lionel Messi climbing up the rankings right now for all-time franchise goal scorer, third right now for that one. But Jonka, I'm thinking right now for these 2 games, my honest opinion about this, because I love the club stuff, right? I love the U.S. Open Cup. I love League Cup. I love all that stuff. But the one thing that pissed me off last season was Inter Miami resting Messi and Messi not being able to participate in these regular season games to make the
Mhm.
playoffs first place.
Yeah,
Inter Miami right now is the top 2 team in the Eastern Conference in the MLS.
we're number
Now,
one.
what was that?
We're number one.
Number one, my apologies. Top 2, but number one. Top 2, number 1 team right now in the Eastern Conference in the MLS. Inter Miami is on the rise as we speak. I'm hoping with, CONCACAF Cup behind us, Inter Miami can focus on the regular season. Messi can focus on the regular season. Leagues Cup is like, 100 something days away from us. So let's just get to it. Let's just push for the playoffs right now. If you ask me, injuries, they're going to get themselves settled in by at least October when we get close to the end of the year. But let's go and get this thing. Maybe even a President's Cup I can even take for the season. If Inter Miami doesn't have the number 1 seed with the number 1 record by the end of this year, despite all the injuries, I don't know if I'm going to say it's a lost cause, But damn it, man, I really want the MLS Cup for this Inter Miami team. This is probably the best way to do it.
Last year when Messi came in, we were dead last. And then when Messi came in, we went on a crazy streak.
Mm-hmm.
And then we were kind of like moving up because of all those games we were winning. But the thing is, the Leagues Cup happened, all these things happened, and so Messi couldn't play, and so we started losing, and that just like ruined our chances for the playoffs. But that was the second half of the season. That first half of the season, we did terrible. So that kind of like hindered our chances of making the playoffs, anyways. But now we have Messi for the entire season. We have the whole season to ourselves, and now we're in first place. Last year we were in last at the end of the first half.
Yeah.
So that's beneficial to us. So if Messi, let's say, does get injured for some unknown reason, knock on wood, but I'm just saying, if he were to go out, we have plenty of time, and we're in the position where, yeah, we can lose a couple games and still maintain a top 7 position. And then heading into the end of the second half of the season, I'm assuming we're just gonna make the playoffs. We don't need to be the first seed, but I would like to have the first seed because I think we do get a bye.
Yeah.
So that bye would be nice for Messi and Busquets and Alba and all the older players on the team.
Yeah. And again, Inter Miami, as mentioned before, back-to-back victories for the first time in a long time. It honestly looks like they're back to their old ways, leading a league. In this case, Inter Miami leading the Eastern Conference right now in the MLS. But that's all the time we had here on Plug Talk Sports. Again, we always enjoy their conversations. And unfortunately, Danny was unable to be with us, and he's under the weather at the moment. But NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, a draft coming in
This
3 to
Thursday,
4 days. John, it's going to be sports heaven in the next few days. I'm telling you, man.
this summer's gonna be nice.
Way too nice. But that's all the time we have here with Plug Talk Sports. Thank you for tuning in once again. Jonka, myself, Brandon. We'll see you guys in the next episode. And always stay tuned with our socials.
Support the troops.